Okay, so this is going to be our review for our number systems unit. This is our study guide from Thursday, and quick bit of direction so you know what to do with this video. You have two ways that you can use this. Either one, you're watching this after you have already finished the study guide, you've done it start to finish, and you're going through to see how you did. If that is the case and you did okay, skip around in this video, find the problems that you missed, and only review those questions. No need to go over the whole thing. If you scored a 50 or less or a 60 or less, you should watch the whole video because clearly you're missing quite a bit of information. Or you haven't done this test yet and you want to follow along because you're still unclear about some of these things. So 3 options, 3 ways you can do it. I will let you decide, and I would have told you in class. So for number 1, an ion is an electrically charged particle. A group of ions is shown below. So we are going to have positives and negatives. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 positives. And then we've also got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 negatives. So this problem, when I'm going through and solving it, I've got 8 positives, but I've also got 8 negatives. So the entire problem comes out to 8 minus 8, which is just going to be 0 for number 1. So number 1, we put B. The answer was 0. For number 2, the temperature in Toronto one afternoon was 14 degrees, and the temperature the same night fell to negative 5 degrees Fahrenheit. What was the difference in temperature? So we are looking for how far apart negative 14 and positive 5 would be on a number line. So for this, I'm just going to go ahead and pull up our number lines from class. We're trying to figure out how far apart 14 and negative 5 is. So here is negative 5 and here is positive 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So it looks like the correct answer is they are 19 degrees apart. On a number line, negative 5 and positive 14 are 19 units apart, which is C. For number 3, which 2 inequalities are correct? There are 2 correct answers for this. And they're using these vertical lines. If you remember, anything inside of these vertical lines automatically becomes positive. Now, it doesn't work if the negative symbol is on the outside of the symbol, okay? This should be in our notes somewhere from last week or the week before. But we're looking for which 2 are correct. So A compares the absolute value of negative 5 and the absolute value of negative 9. Well, this would be equal to 5. This would be equal to 9. So that's true. 9 is more than 5. This says that positive 1 is greater than positive 2, which is not correct. This one says the absolute value of 6, which is still 6, is less than the absolute value of negative 6, which is also 6. No, those are equal. One is not greater than the other. This one says 7 is more than 8. Remember, those absolute value things make it positive. And this one says 8 is less than the absolute value of negative 10, which would be the equivalent of 10. So the correct answers for number 3 were both A and E. Both of them were correct. And I put it down here in the study guide. There were 2 answers in case you didn't read it in the problem above. Next up, we have number 4 and number 5. Number 4 is asking which town's elevation is between town C and town D. So we're looking for a number that is between positive 13 and negative 145. Well, anything in like the 200s is not going to work, so it's not town E and it's not town F. Those are way too high. And then town B is at negative 195, which is even further down than town C, so it's not town B. Town A is going to be somewhere in the middle of positive 13 and negative 145. So for number 4, we wanted B. For number 5, we have a thermometer shows the temperature at 5 a.m. The temperature was 8 degrees warmer at 1 p.m. So it's asking what would the temperature have been at 1? Well, we look here, it's at 12 degrees at negative 12 degrees at this time. So we're just going to go up by 8 degrees. So let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I know that is really hard to see, and I'm just not zooming in because it's messing with the format on this recording. But if you look really closely, you can see that 8 degrees up would be negative 4. All right? So our answer to number 5 was negative 4, which is also B. Question 6, it says points X and Y are marked on this coordinate grid or on this number line, and it's asking which is not correct. Which of these statements is not right? So A says that X is the opposite of Y, and yes, that is true. B says that they are a reflection about 0. That just means they are using, remember our reflections unit, they're using this 0 as a mirror. And if you look at it, yes, they are both equal distance from that mirror. So it's a weird way to phrase it, but it is correct. C says X is negative, negative 2. So negative, negative 2. If it's a double negative, is it a negative or is it now a positive? It should have been a positive. So point X, that does not equal positive 2. So this is the one that is not going to be correct. All right, so for number 6, your answer should have been C. For number 7, it shows us this number line and it asks us which point is the opposite of 5. So T was a trick answer for people who didn't read the problem. We want the opposite of 5, which would have been negative 5 or point Q. So for number 7, we wanted A. For number 8, we have what's true about 5 and its opposite. On the number line, 5 and its opposite are on the same side. No, different sides. We wanted, let's see, on a number line, 5 is 5 units to the right of 0, and that's correct. And the opposite of 5 is 5 units to the left of 0. That is correct. We wanted D for number 8. Okay, so the opposite of 5 would be negative, and all negatives are to the left of 0. For number 9, it's asking which coordinate is negative 2, 4. Well, this one should have been relatively easy. You just go 2 to the left, and then 4 up, which would have been M for number 9. So A for 9. For number 10, it's asking what are the coordinates of W after it is reflected across the x-axis. Okay, so if I use this red line as a mirror and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, what would be the coordinates after it's been reflected down there? And the answer would be positive 3, negative 4. So that would be C, positive 3, negative 4 for number 10. For number 11, the elevation of Dumpleton is at 12 meters above sea level. The elevation of Hamster Bay is 3 meters below sea level. Which inequality accurately compares those elevations? So we have a positive 12, it's above, and we have a negative 3. So first of all, C and D are impossible. Even though one of them is technically set up right, it's backwards. We're not dealing with negative 12 and positive 3. We're dealing with positive 12 and negative 3. And the one that correctly compares those two is A. A is the one that has it right. For number 12, this one, once again, he was asked to compare negative 7 and negative 3. And he has it set up as negative 7 is less than negative 3. And which statement about this is true? Well, Gregory is correct. Negative 7 is less than negative 3. And that is because negative 7 is farther to the left than negative 3 on a number line. That would be the correct reasoning. Lower numbers are to the left on a number line. For number 13, we have negative 5/4 compared to negative 2. And the correct answer would be this one. Remember, we haven't gone over what this symbol even means officially in class outside of the warm-up. So this one you should have ruled out immediately because I haven't taught it to you. I'm not going to test you on something you haven't been taught. But you would be able to convert this into a mixed number, which would be negative 1 and 1/4. And that is very clearly, oh, hang on, I accidentally said the wrong thing. Sorry, those are negatives. Because they are negatives, the one that is closer to 0, closer to the positives, would end up being the larger values. Number 13, the correct answer should have been A, and I almost just told you the wrong thing. My mistake. Number 14. This one, it tells us, of course, we've talked about this. Sea level is represented by an elevation of 0. We've been over that. Which statement is true about these cities' elevations then? Badwater Basin has the highest? No, that is in the negatives, negative 85. That's actually the lowest. Desert Shores is higher than Nyland. So Nyland is at negative 43. Desert Shores is lower. It's all the way down at negative 61. Nyland is the closest to sea level. No, that would be Thermal. Thermal is closer to sea level. And Salton City is farther away than Thermal. No. Salton City is at negative 38. Thermal is at negative 37. Slightly closer, slightly higher. So number 14, we wanted D. For number 15, which coordinate pair is located 5 units away from point F? So we have point F right here at positive 3, negative 2. So let's go ahead and just test it. A would be at positive 2, negative 2. Ha, no, that is much too close. That is only 1 unit away. Way too close. B puts it at 2, positive 2. Well, that's at a diagonal, and we have not at all talked about diagonal distance, and we're not going to this year, so it's not B. C puts it at positive 3, positive 3, which is here. Well, let's check. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. Yep, the answer would have been C for number 15. For number 16, it says Nora is shopping at a local market that is located at 16.9 on the coordinate plane. And she needs to walk to the hardware store that is located at negative 4, positive 9. And the question is, what is the distance between those two units? Now, one way you could do this is draw on a coordinate grid, draw a graph and count the distance between those 2 points. Or if you remember in class, some of you picked up that there is a trick. All you have to do is take the absolute value, assuming that they are different symbols, positive 16, negative 4. You could add the absolute value between them to get the answer. So absolute value of 16 plus the absolute value of negative 4. So 16 plus 4, the correct answer is 20. Or, like I said, if that was a little bit too tricky, you can, of course, just go ahead and graph it on a piece of graph paper. There is no problem with doing that. For number 17, which ordered pair shows the location of point B? So point B is located here, directly on the x-axis. I did that on purpose because I know I'm going to get some of you with it. The correct answer would be C, not A. A is backwards, okay? C says 9 to the right and then 0 up or down. What A says is 0 left and right and 9 going straight up, okay? And there's nothing there at 9. There's something there at 10, but not 9. B is going to be at 9, 0, okay? For number 18, it says Giovanna marks the location of her favorite store at 9, 4. So 9 to the right and 4 up. That's her store. And the park at negative 3, positive 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 up. Okay? Each unit on the grid counts 1 mile. So what is the distance? Well, let's check. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 12. That is 12 miles away from her store. So the answer would be D. And the last few problems, we have number 19, which has this right here. We have negative 8 plus 3. equals -8 minus -3. Is this true and why? So I'm going to tell you now, it is true. Okay, this right here, that is -8 plus 3, so we start at -8 and we come back to the right by 3 units. We end up at -5. And this one, remember, when you add or subtract a negative, that is the same as adding. We've been doing this a while now. Okay, you go to the right on the number line when you subtract a negative. So you're doing the same thing that you're doing on this side, and you end up with -5. So the answer to this one, number 19, would have been A. For number 20, we have -6 plus 6 equals 0. What could represent that situation? This is true, by the way, but what would represent this? Rob owes his parents $6. Good. The next day, he borrows another $6, and now he owes $0. No, that's not how that works. You borrow money from me, and then borrow more money, you owe me more money. B says Rob has $6 in his pocket, and he returns a CD and gains $6 more. So no, how do you gain more money and somehow end up at 0? Makes no sense. Rob owes $6 from his parents, okay, that's the negative, and he pays them $6 after he completes his chores, so now he owes his parents $0. Yes, that would work, because he started at a negative and then he paid to get back to 0. So the answer would be C for number 20. Number 21, what is equivalent to 7 minus 10? Well, 7 minus 10 would equal -3. So we're looking for which of these would end up at -3. So -7 plus -10, no, that would be -17. -7 plus 10, no, that would be +3. 7 minus -10, no, that would be +17. This one, remember, when we add a negative, it is the same as subtraction. You're going to the left on your number line. And that would put us at -3. So for number 21, we needed D for number 21. And last but not least, 22. Trinity has 7 pencils, and she gives 7 pencils to her friend. So that means she started off, she had 7 pencils, and then she took away 7 pencils, so now she should be at 0 pencils. So immediately, A, B, and C are all eliminated because none of them end up with her back at 0. You can see in C, it's almost close. It does start at 0 and it goes up by 7, but then it goes up by 7 again. That's not what should have been happening. What should have happened is starting from 0, we go up by 7. Those are the 7 pencils she had. Then you subtract 7 to end up back at 0 pencils for number 22. So, number 22, we got D. And let's just make sure there were no errors or typos when I was reviewing this so I can fix it before it goes live for you. I did miss something. It was number 4. So by the time you go over this, I will have... Oh, I'm sorry. I missed this earlier when I was going over this. The correct answer for number 4 should have been A. I think I said that out loud, but I think I accidentally pushed the wrong button. Number 4 should have been A. But that's going to do it for the review. The test tomorrow will be 20 questions. I hope this video helps. Feel free to watch it again if you need, and good luck.